Knotfest has been successful about 3 years in a row now.
Yeah.
Is that, what are the chances of that becoming a tour? I know you guys have switched locations, but I mean,
it's something we talked about, but I'm a little apprehensive about making it a tour, as opposed to maybe doing more in specific places and doing it more like
just changing San Bernardino.
And then giving it enough time that everything from that weekend can travel to another place and doing it like that, because I think Knotfest is the whole experience. It's not just the show with the bands and everything. It's the rides, it's the craziness, it's the fire, it's everything. So I don't know if I'd want to make it a traveling tour like Ozfest was, but what I would like to do is maybe see it get it to a point where it's like 5 dates, like spread out over a weekend, and then you give it a week to travel.
That way you don't burn everybody out.
Exactly. And you get people kind of coming from everywhere, and it makes it really special.
Keep the demand.
Exactly.
Definitely. All right. Well, speaking of the band's future, how are things going with the new members? I mean, I know you guys are particular about mentioning names and stuff like that, but you guys, from a fan's perspective, you guys sound tight as ever.
It's really good. Yeah. I mean, everything's going really well. Live, the Knotfest shows were our first shows live with them, so it was kind of like, all right, get out of the airplane. But they handled it. They were really good. They kicked a lot of ass, and we're getting along with it really well. So I mean, everything feels good. Everything feels really good.
Well, I gotta say, I love the keg in your percussion.
Oh man!
Do you guys have to finish one of those every time you go on and play, or does the most interesting man in the world donate one every show?
Honestly, a clown. I swear he goes around to like old bars and he's like, give me the most gnarly keg you got right now. I'll take that one. Who gives a shit,
Yeah.
The old ones, the original ones, we didn't have that kind of flexibility.
Right.
So he used the same ones over and over, and they started to pop.
Right.
You started to smell it, and it was not good.
So there's a possibility that each one of those is, a different kind of beer.
Yeah, you were kidding. A lot of Schlitz. Ugh, not good.
All right, so let's talk about your album. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You are #1 on the Billboard.
Yeah.
You're #1 around the world right now.
Yeah.
Now, I think what's interesting is in 2014, not one album has gone platinum.
Yeah.
What do you think that says about the music industry? Because you have people like Gene Simmons who are saying rock is dead, but the fact that no album's gone platinum kind of says something about the industry as a whole. What do you think about that?
I think people put too much on sales, because that doesn't relate to how many people have heard it. You know what I'm saying? And in this day and age, it's more about getting people to hear the music. I mean, we had 3 million views of the Knotfest live streams. You don't get an award for that. We had so many million views of the Negative One video and the Devil and I video. You don't get awards for that. So for me, what we did was great, and I love the fact that we had the highest sales in the first week for a metal band of the whole year in a long time, to be honest. I'm proud of that, but at the same time, that doesn't relate to how many people have heard it, and how many people have gone on and bought specific songs. Just the fact that we had 65,000 to almost 70,000 people over the weekend at Knotfest. I mean, that proves something. You don't always need a platinum album to relate that to success. So, with all due respect to Mr. Simmons, he needs to get out a little more.
Awesome.
Thank you for that, man. I appreciate it.
So you bought a guitar from Dave's Pawn Shop, which is actually
Yeah. It's the one with the wooden Elvis out in front of it. It's my favorite place. There's so much weird shit in it. I'm just like,
exactly.
Oh, it's crazy.
So that being said, have you ever considered, purchasing something from there as, using as a stage prop?
I was very, very close to actually offering him money for the wooden Elvis. And then I wanted to put it on stage and in his hand put a mic clip.
Yeah.
And that way I could put my microphone in his hand. So I'd have to go up to the wooden Elvis to get my own mic. And I just thought that would be fucking cool as shit. But I just haven't had a chance to do that. So, but I definitely have thought about it. I know Clown went there today, so I won't be surprised if I see some gnarly shit come out of there.
Well, while you're at it, you should check out Pancho Villa's Finger. They got it on sale.
Oh, really?
It's like $9,500. So.
All right, I'll definitely check it out.
So El Paso's a growing city. It's a fast-paced growing city with a small town mentality. If you had one piece of advice for talented regional musicians to make a career out of doing what they love, what would that be?
Get out of town.
Get out of town, yeah.
Well, base it where you are, but get out of town and play as many cities as you can, because that becomes your foundation. That's what we did with Slipknot. We based out of Des Moines, but we would go and do Kansas City, Chicago, Omaha, St. Louis, Minneapolis. We just kept pushing it to the point where we were doing shows all in that region, and the word just kept spreading like wild.
I mean, did you guys have like a set amount of money set up to go and do that?
We didn't make any money, man. Like seriously, I mean,
I just
honestly,
want to know what your plans are.
Clown fronted a lot of the money for that stuff out of his own pocket. That's awesome. And because he believed in it so much, and the money that we actually did make, we put right back into the band. So we would have travel expenses, we would have money to get a U-Haul truck or something to get all the equipment there. So it just makes sense if you're that dedicated about it, you need to realize you're not going to make any money right at first. Because we all had to have jobs to pay our rent, but we would take certain amounts of time off just to go to good shows. So it's about dedication. And if you have the dedication, don't be afraid to take that money and put it right back into the kitty, because it's going to pay off like 1,000.
That's awesome. So, El Paso obviously recently has been attracting larger name groups. With the opening, we had a venue called Tricky Falls that just opened up about 3 years ago. They've been doing very well, bringing a lot of bigger name groups. Also, the reservation with Sapporo Entertainment Center, they've been, Korn loves to play there as well. What else can El Paso do to, host for larger acts like that? Like, what can we do to make these larger groups want to come here?
I think with word of mouth, more and more bands are going to start to come. I have every intention of telling other bands to definitely come down here. I've had the privilege of playing a couple times with this band and with my other band, and I've never had a bad time. I've always had a really good time when I'm down here. So I think once word spreads, more and more bands will start to come down this way. So
cool. We'll definitely keep that word spreading.
All right, good.
Can you tell us a little bit about the writing, like the studio process? Is there something that you haven't really told the public that you might want to let them know as far as how
Here's
you guys?
Here's a fun fact. I'll give you a little fun fact.
Awesome.
Clown's voice, not my voice, is at the beginning of Exits. It's at the beginning of Skeptic. It's at the beginning of Custer. And it's his vocals on Be Prepared for Hell. So there's an exclusive right there. I know a lot of people think it's my voice all through it, but it's not. It's actually not. And Clown also wrote the music for Exits and Be Prepared for Hell. So it was really kind of a collaborative effort, man. We got back to just kind of throwing stuff in the pot, lighting the fire and seeing what cooked, And, it came together really, really well.
That's awesome, man. I know you guys did a lot of work with you in particular, you did some work with Dave Grohl out at Sound City. All Hope Is Gone was also recorded at a studio called Soundfly, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of a studio called Sonic Ranch?
Is that Al's?
Yeah, from Ministry?
Yeah. Clown actually went out there a long time ago to check some stuff out. We were thinking about doing some recording out there, but it just kind of, But I've heard of it, absolutely.
Well, did your preference as far as your recording process change after working with Dave Grohl at all?
The cool thing about working with Dave is that the two of us were actually working more with Butch Vig, the world famous producer, super cool dude. And the way they made that album was everything was on 2-inch tape. And it had been so long since I'd recorded on 2-inch tape that when they would rewind it back, I would hear that noise, and it would take me back to the first two.
That hiss, right?
Yeah, it's that thing, and you're like, whoa, what the hell? Oh, this. Because we recorded the first two Slipknot albums on 2-inch, and then we recorded the first Stone Tower album on 2-inch. And it just something about that, man. It's made me very reminiscent, and I love the fact that they did that to prove a point. You don't need computers, you don't need this, you don't need that. What you need is talent.
Yeah.
You get enough talent in one room, you can make magic.
Yeah, and I was actually watching the video of you doing, working with Dave Grohl, and they were mentioning that, nothing had been tuned or anything like that. It was just pure.
And I sang that, I think I sang that song a total of 5 times, and that was it.
Yeah.
And then I went in and did the harmonies, and then we were done. I mean, it was literally that simple. When you know what you're doing and you're good at what you do, you can go in and do whatever you want.
And it's very respectable nowadays in age because everybody, relies on the technology that's come out. It's great technology, but sometimes it's a bit overused.
Well, and that's the thing. You should use that technology as a tool.
Right.
You shouldn't use it to cover the fact that you have no fucking talent whatsoever. And it pisses me off more and more every fucking day.
Yeah. So, bit of a shift in topic. Have you ever been directly or indirectly affected by the horrors of cancer?
Yes, actually, I have. My father-in-law, who I was extremely close to, and unfortunately died of cancer 2 years ago. It'd be 2 years in November. And, it was something that it just kind of really knocked the shit out of my wife's family and I. And it was hard. It was hard to deal with, And then my grandmother actually had a couple of different versions of skin cancer and had to have a couple of operations. So I have done. It's heavy. It's heavy duty.
I'm sorry to hear that. The reason I say that is because being in this chair right now, there's millions of people that wish they could be in this chair right now, speaking to you. So I kind of wanted to share my good fortune and pay it forward.
No worries.
So I donated a question to a fan who could raise the most awareness for another friend of mine who wanted to raise some money for her cancer treatment.
Okay, well, that's very cool, man. That's very cool.
His name was Lorenzo, and his question was, many of Slipknot songs seem to deal with mental illness. What do you think of the way that the United States is dealing with mental illness?
That's a great question, to be honest. In my opinion, I think too many people try to medicate it instead of really trying to get to the source of it. But it has to be a balance, You can only do so much with therapy. There has to be some kind of, to me anyway, there has to be some sort of medication because there's certain things like bipolar disorder or
Schizophrenia?
No, well, that too, but shit, I can't think of it right now. I'm drawing a blank. I apologize. It'll come to me in a second, but there's certain syndromes like that unfortunately you need medication balanced with therapy to be able to deal with it.
Right, chemical imbalances in the brain.
Exactly, yes. Borderline personality disorder. That's what I was trying to think.
Right.
And I'm very familiar with all of those things. So I think more focus is being put on medication, but they're trying to medicate for everything now. And that's, sometimes you don't need that medication. Sometimes you need therapy, and therapy can go along with it. I mean, I've taken it, I've been through it, and as long as you can be taught the tools to cope, because that's really what it's all about. It's learning to cope and learning to live your life correctly. I think once they start preaching more balance than one way or the other, I think we'll be